Hey everyone, welcome back to another devlog on my ancient Greek themed tower defense game that I'm currently building in Unity. To kick things off, my main goal for the last few weeks for the game has been the first proper round of UI improvements. I am far from a UI expert, so I really have no good concept of what I should be doing, but my process so far has looked like this. If you remember from my last video, I talked about this little book that I used to write in for concepts and design for the game, but I also use it to sketch out and prototype different user interface ideas, and the ones I'll be looking at today is the in-game menus, so the hero profiles and the main store. The current in-game store and hero profiles look like this, and I'm thinking of going with the Bloons Tower Defense style with the store always persistent on the right side of the screen and the character upgrades to look like this. Like I said, I am not that great with user experience or user interface design, so I largely base my designs off what I have liked and not liked in existing games, especially of similar titles. Now, the things that I have designed, once it comes time for early playtesting, I am completely prepared to be roasted and have to redesign, and hopefully by then the feedback that I get from it will be useful enough that I have a better idea of what better caters to the player's needs. Before I get into that though, I'm going to tidy up my project files really quick. If you saw my last devlog on this, you'll know I've been working on this game for just over a year now, and it has seen some changes over this time, but I haven't had any time to really just clean the project up and remove some files that I'm no longer using. Starting with our old character designs using the old color palette, these guys walked so that the rest of the project could walk a little faster, maybe even run. So, to our fallen soldiers, we salute you. I've made a proper UI page in Sprite now, which I'll continuously add and expand to throughout development, which at the moment looks like this. And I've also designed a rough prototype of how I want it to look in the game. Now, I'm pretty happy with this first iteration, and like I said, I do see this changing throughout development, but for now, I'm going to start coding it into the game. I've just finished implementing the character profile in-game and hooked it up to the existing code, which surprisingly was super smooth. The descriptions and stuff aren't updated just yet, but I want to work on the formatting for those first as well. But I kinda got derailed for a little bit, and I'll explain why. Now, I've never been too well versed with Unity's user interface system. Like, I've used it in the past, but never had a deep dive of it until now. And I encountered something that, according to Mr. ChatGPT, is actually a common bug, for lack of a better term, in Unity's UI system, which is the disabled or selected state of the buttons. And I'm sure if anyone here has used Unity in the past would be familiar with this as well. But if you have a button and you click on it, it puts it in a disabled state, which semi-breaks the interaction of it. It still works as a button, but the animation or sprite reference gets locked into a disabled state that can only be re-enabled if you click somewhere else. While I was working on the new visual overhaul, this UI system annoyed me so much that I wrote an override script for the button's visuals, which gives me much more control of how visuals work in the interactions. Basically, using the selectable interface events, I have created my own system to handle visual overrides and sprite switching, which I've used extremely generically, meaning anytime I have a button, I can just attach the script to it and update the values as I want. Cracking back into it, I'm going to continue working on the shop menu now and hopefully get something up shortly. Alright, I've just finished with this first bit of the visual overhaul, encountered a few bugs along the way which I managed to clean up as well, but this is how it's looking at the moment. I've slightly updated the play button, the settings button, and the life icon, and I also have implemented working pages in the shop so that it's always filtered by the class of the units. All of the UI elements are working now, and my first impression is that it's obviously a lot better than where it was before, but I'm still not completely happy with how it looks. The scene is quite bare at the moment, but I'm going to be working on some basic level art in just a moment. As for the UI elements, I think the character upgrade section looks good, but the shop I'm not sold on just yet. So if you guys have any ideas for what I can add to it or what it feels like it's missing, please let me know down in the comments. On that note, as always, I do invite you all to join my Discord group for early access videos and updates on this game, as well as anything else I'm working on. The link for that will be in the description of this video. Anyway, now that I have this first UI overhaul semi-done, I'm gonna jump back into Sprite and start working on some more of the art for the levels. The way that I envision the art for the levels, or the actual design of the levels, is that they blend seamlessly with the game grid. This was part of the original concept that I had for the game around a year ago when I first started developing. However, when I restarted the project, I put a lot of these ideas into the backlog as I was prioritizing the game design first. Now that we're pretty caught up though, I can start working on re-implementing it, so I made a mock-up design in Sprite that looks like this. I have 4 different map designs planned, which are the forest, mountains, desert, and the overworld, and each map design will have their own tile set for the surrounding area. So forest would be trees, mountain would be snowmen or more mountains, and the desert might have something like cactuses, cacti, spiky sticks. Anyway, you get the picture. I'm starting off with the forest level, as this will probably be the first level that the player experiences anyway, so I'm going to start working on some objects that can go into the level and start getting them in. So I'll catch you guys soon. I've just finished updating some of the art that I'm going to be using, and I've also redesigned some of the rocks, which is pretty fun, and I also animated a little tree dancing. Now, while I was messing with the scene, it still felt a bit stale, and I knew that this was partially because of the lighting in the game, so I wanted to experiment with the universal render pipeline that Unity has, and well, I broke the game. But that's okay for now, as the Z fighting was always a bit of an issue in the game, so I guess it's kind of forcing me to deal with it now, as I've been putting it on the back of my to-do list for a while. I may have to refactor a couple things to get it to work, but otherwise most of it I'm hoping can be handled through code. So we'll get the music going and start an epic montage. Fortunately, this issue was code related, and I've got a temporary fix for sorting the layering order, which is very nice. Now, the lighting as well has definitely helped improve the general feel of the game, but it's still not quite there, and I think a lot of that will come from dynamic lighting as well as the background needing a bit more life. But other than that, I'm definitely happy with the direction it's in so far. I'm going to wrap up this video here. My plans going forward will be back to work on the character designs, so both the actual sprite animations, but also the characters themselves, which will be fun. Now, before I wrap up the video, I want to give a huge thank you to everyone for helping the channel reach 2,000 subscribers, which is absolutely insane to me. Let's keep the momentum going and keep pushing forward. So if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel to stay up to date with everything I'm working on. If you guys enjoyed this video, leave a like and a comment down below of what you want to see next. Thanks again for watching, and I'll catch you guys soon.